Once, a group of travelers was making their way through the desert. As they neared a well, one of the men looked down into it and saw something strange.
Look, what's that in the well?
He called out. The others gathered around and looked down. There, in the depths of the well, was a young boy, seemingly abandoned and helpless.
Who could have left him here?
Another man wondered, his voice filled with concern.
He must be lost, or worse, left to die.
The travelers quickly pulled Yousef, alayhi salam, from the well. He was dirty, tired, and disoriented, but alive. They decided to take him with them, unsure of who he was or where he came from, and began their journey toward Egypt. In Egypt, the traders who found Yousef sold him in the marketplace, where he was bought by Al-Aziz, a powerful official of Egypt. Al-Aziz was impressed by Yousef's noble character and beauty. He saw something special in the boy and decided to take him into his household. But there, trouble was brewing. Zulaikha, the wife of Al-Aziz, became captivated by Yousef's striking appearance. She would often try to seduce him, but Yousef, a man of great piety and integrity, rejected her advances. One day, Zulaikha could no longer control her feelings. She called Yousef into her chamber, locking the door behind them.
"Come in, Yousef. Come to me,"
she said, her voice filled with desire. But Yousef, standing tall with righteousness, answered firmly, "I seek refuge in Allah. My master has treated me with kindness, and I cannot betray him." Zulaikha's face twisted with anger, but she did not relent.
"You will regret this,"
she threatened.
"You are nothing but a servant. I can have you punished."
At that moment, the door swung open, and one of Zulaikha's servants stepped into the room. He witnessed the scene and quickly understood the truth. He spoke loudly.
"What has happened here? Who is at fault?"
Zulaikha, realizing that the truth was about to come out, immediately accused Yousef of trying to harm her.
"It is he who tried to harm me,"
she cried.
"He is the guilty one."
The servant, seeing the evidence, spoke out.
"If his shirt is torn from the front, then he is guilty. But if it is torn from the back, it means he was trying to escape."
When they examined Yousef's shirt, they found that it had been torn from the back. Zulaikha's face turned pale as she realized the truth. Her voice faltered.
"I did nothing. It wasn't me. No, it was him, not me. Please trust me."
But despite this, Yousef was still thrown into prison to protect Zulaikha's reputation. Yousef accepted his fate with patience, knowing that Allah had a greater plan for him. While in prison, Yousef, alayhi salam, remained strong in his faith. He never wavered, even in the darkest moments. One day, two prisoners were thrown into the same cell as Yousef. They were troubled by strange dreams and asked Yousef to interpret them. The first man said,
I dreamed that I was squeezing grapes into wine. What does this mean?
The second man, looking equally worried, added,
I saw birds eating from a basket of bread on my head. What does that mean for me?
Yousef responded calmly, The dream of the first man means that you will be restored to your position. As for the second man, your dream is a warning. You will be executed. The men were surprised by his wisdom.
Will you be freed then?
The first man asked, What will happen to me? Yousef smiled and replied, I ask only that you remember me when you are freed, and tell the king about my innocence. I have been wrongfully imprisoned. However, when the first man was freed and returned to his position, he forgot about Yousef, leaving him in prison for several more years. Years later, the king of Egypt had a disturbing dream. He dreamed of 7 fat cows being devoured by 7 lean cows, and 7 green ears of corn being eaten by 7 dry ones. The king, confused and alarmed, summoned his wise men to interpret the dream.
Can anyone explain the meaning of this vision?
The king asked, but no one could provide an answer. One of the king's servants, who had been freed from prison years earlier, suddenly remembered Yousef and his gift of dream interpretation.
Your Majesty,
He said,
I know of a man in prison who can interpret dreams. He correctly interpreted the dreams of 2 of my fellow prisoners.
The king immediately sent for Yousef. When he was brought before the ruler, Yousef, alayhi salam, listened carefully to the king's dream. The 7 years of plenty will be followed by 7 years of famine, he explained. You must store grain during the good years so that Egypt will survive the lean years ahead. The king, amazed by Yousef's wisdom, immediately appointed him to a high-ranking position in the government. Yousef, alayhi salam, became the manager of Egypt's resources, overseeing the storage of grain to prepare for the coming famine. The story of Yousef, alayhi salam, in Egypt reminds us of the importance of patience, perseverance, and trust in Allah's wisdom. Despite the trials he faced, betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Yousef never lost faith in Allah. He remained steadfast and in time rose to a position of power and influence. Yousef, alayhi salam, also teaches us the power of forgiveness. His story emphasizes that no matter how difficult our trials may seem, we must trust in Allah's plan and remain patient. Thank you for listening to the story of Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam. For more inspiring Islamic stories and teachings, make sure to visit and subscribe to the Raising for Caliphs channel. Stay connected, and may Allah guide us all to the right path. Until next time, goodbye and take care.